Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Live show, The Leaders Dojo. And we have a very special show tonight because my good friend Phang Chui Kean is here. He is a accomplished trainer and parenting coach. But before I get ahead of myself, I better do my opening spiel properly. Let's not be too spontaneous about this. Uh, all right, so I just want to do a little introduction. How come it's not showing anything? Yeah. So I just want to let you know a little bit about myself. My name is Chee-Seng, as you all would probably know, and I am a writer and content strategist. And the reason why we have this show is because I'm of the conviction that leadership, communication, and branding is actually interrelated in many ways, right? So we normally think of leadership, communication, and branding in the company and organizational point of view. But I was just having a conversation with Chui Kean just now, just before coming online, that it actually does, if you expand the scope a little bit, it actually does apply to parenting as well and families. Of course, I think we will explore this idea a little bit further. All right. But that's the reason for this show, right? What I want to do is I want to start the conversation about how interrelated these things are, right? Because branding is how other people see you, how other people think about you. And that cannot happen if there is no culture. And culture is always driven by leadership, right? And communication is goes hand in hand with leadership, right? There's no two ways about it. And so that's why um, the reason for this show is to start this conversation, because I feel that we need to raise up good leadership in this world, right? Where it's so uncertain and it's so volatile nowadays. Okay, and and that's where the show comes in, and that's where we want to go with our direction for the show. So tonight, as I mentioned, I have with me my very good friend and someone I admire very much. We have a lot in common. We share a lot of our same ideas and passion for developing children, developing parents, and having helping people become better persons. You can focus more on families, right? I focus more on branding and thought leadership. But I think somewhere along the way, we do overlap because I do have also more than 20 years experience as a teacher, right? So Chui Kean is actually a licensed headmaster who teaches crucial parenting techniques, philosophies, and skills in public and also corporate settings. Before this, he was a practicing lawyer and investment banker in a leading financial institution. And he draws on this substantial corporate experience to teach leadership and communication skills to schools and organizations. So his passion is to equip teachers, managers, and leaders with the language skills and to communicate and lead effectively. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, right? The skills of language and principles of leading in the family as parents, right? So without further ado, let me bring my friend online, Chui Kean. Hi,
Hey,
Ken.
hey, good evening, Chee-Seng. Good evening, everyone. How is
Good
everyone this
evening.
evening? How are
Hi,
you,
hi.
Chee-Seng? Have you
I'm very
eaten
good. Thank you
already?
very much. I just had dinner before we came online.
Hey,
and then
everyone. Yep.
hi, Alicia. Hi, Matthew.
Hey,
Thanks for being
Alicia. Hey,
here.
Matthew.
All right. So we want this to be like a conversation. Don't so it's not like a show, right? It's not like a news interview, but let's have a conversation all together, right? With Teacher Ken, and let's pick his brains about how we can be effective leaders at home as parents. All right, so maybe should I call you Ken, Chui Ken, or Teacher Ken? What's your branding?
Let's go with Kian. Let's go with Kian.
Okay, okay. So Ken, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh, hey, okay. Thank you very much, Chee-Seng, for the glowing introduction just now. And hello, everyone, members of the audience. I hope that you all are having a lovely, lovely evening. Thank you, Chee-Seng. Right, so just a little bit about myself. My name is Teacher Kian. Well, my brand name is Teacher Kian. We'll talk about branding later, Chee-Seng. Okay, and I started out as a lawyer. I read law in the University of Manchester, and I became a barrister in the United Kingdom. After
Wow.
that, I came back and I quickly
No
went into
kidding, barrister in
investment.
the UK, man.
Yes, I'm a barrister from the UK. So after I came back, I quickly went into investment banking, and I had the distinction of becoming the youngest vice president in one of Malaysia's leading investment banks. But after that, I decided to open a few businesses, one of which was an education center, and that's where I got my principal's license, my headmaster's license, guru personal license, and which I'm still maintaining until today. And so I realized that teaching children is not where I'm meant to be, right? I really, 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 really love teaching adults. I really love having conversations with people like Chee-Seng, with all the members of the audience, and that's where I am today. I'm today a trainer, a corporate trainer, as well as a parenting trainer. And yup, really, really excited to be on the show tonight with you, Chee-Seng.
Oh, what prompted you to start an education business, right? From banking, investment banking, the high flying big money, and education, right? Education is, I don't know. I've been involved in education. It's hard work.
All right. So I wished that I could go and tell you a glamorous story about, I want to change the world, so I went into education to go and teach. But it wasn't like that, right? From investment banking, I had a lot of savings and I invested into many businesses. I was
Mm.
acting like a private equity fund, right? Friends or
Okay.
family with a business idea would come to me and I would invest in them. Now, let's not get sidetracked, but very briefly, I invested in a livestock business, a dairy cow trading business,
Wow.
and over there I lost around 1 million ringgit. And
Gosh.
another one of the businesses which I invested in was this education center. And because I lost so much of my money in the agriculture business, I wish I could tell you that I'm teaching for passion. I wish I could tell you I started teaching because I'm noble, but it's not. I started teaching because I needed money. I was going through a divorce at the same time, and I take care of two of
Oh,
my children.
right.
So the simple fact is that I needed money. That's why I started teaching. But it was such a great experience, and here I am today. As a trainer, as a teacher, I love it, and wouldn't have done anything differently.
Well, that's quite a story, man.
Yes.
Okay, I admire you even more now.
Hey, Chee-Seng, I admire you. You really helped me out from a lot of tough times in life, my friend.
Okay, so let's get to our topic for today. And I think this is really a great topic. This is something that when you propose it to me, it's just like bang, that's it. We're not gonna like talk about this anymore. This is it. All right. So, but let me just quickly start off with this question, right? Your views on parenting today. What do you think? Are parents being too harsh, too soft on kids?
Well, here's my views only, okay, based on the observation of all the people I've helped in my journey, all right? Um, Too harsh or too soft is not the key question here, Chee-Seng. Now, the
Hmm.
question is, are we present? All right.
Hmm.
Okay, now let's think of it this way, all right? Now, when we were kids, all right, and we wanted to go and ask a question, all right, like, why is the sky blue? All right, who would we ask? Why is the sky blue? So we will ask our dads, all
Parents,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Parents, yeah, we'll ask our
Hmm.
dads, we'll ask our mother, right? And our dads, they will go and give you all types of funny reasons, like, because God made it like that, or, because the
Hmm.
sky is not red. They might go and give you a dad joke, or they might give you the real answer. But the
Hmm.
point is, right, okay, Chee-Seng, after they gave us the answer, what did we feel? We felt like, whoa, that is the wisest guy in the world. Oh,
Hmm.
that is, really, really, really clever. Right? That is really well read, and that is so cool. But things in the world have moved on. Now, the other day I was speaking to Rijal, and he put it very nicely. He says that we have institutionalized our parenting.
Hmm.
We have outsourced our parenting to teachers and to friends, right? And to tuition teachers,
Oh
And
man.
we as parents have taken a very backseat role. And now, even at home, when our kids ask us, hey, why is the sky blue? What do we tell them? What do
Ask
we
your
say?
teacher.
Ask your teacher. Hey, ask your teacher, not so bad, Ask Google. Ask
uh,
YouTube.
the ultimate the ultimate answer, Google.
Absolutely, that's right. So now, and parents are asking me all the time, why don't my kids listen to me? It is
Mm,
because we have outsourced, or we have given away a lot of our influence. We have outsourced away a lot of the respect to devices and to teachers. Now, this is really, really, really bad, especially in this climate, because we cannot outsource all these questions or parenting to teachers anymore
mm,
because it's all online.
mm,
So who do we outsource this parenting to now? If our kids are lucky, they may follow a good YouTube streamer. What if they're not
mm.
lucky? What if they meet a predator on the internet? I've met so many kids who met bad people on the internet. Get conned, right? Start using their parents' credit cards.
Goodness.
Very, very, yeah. So it's
Well,
really
losing
chronic.
money is the least of the problems, I guess. You get physically preyed on, then it's even worse.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Okay. Now, research shows it's not me, yeah. Okay, this is research. Studies show that most children who have been sexually abused initiated from the internet.
Gosh.
Initiated from the internet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Mm,
I remember a couple of years ago, was it a few years ago, Rage by the Star, they did this Predator on my phone video. Oh my goodness,
correct.
there's so
Yes.
many. So many.
Correct. Absolutely.
Oh
So
gosh.
now, with respect, right? It's not a question of whether parents are being too harsh or too soft. They are not taking back their sphere of influence, or rather,
Mm,
perhaps they have forgotten that one of their primary roles as parents is to understand the needs of their children and to go and adjust, all right, to go and see how best to go and
mm,
serve their children. Instead, as parents nowadays, what do? We see our kids misbehaving or behaving unhelpfully, and yeah, you will have two ends of the spectrum. You have some parents who emulate their own parents' parenting style and straight away scold the kid or punish a kid, punitive punishment without any thought behind it. Or on the other hand, some of them have
mm.
read some article on social media and says that, oh, we can't scold our children, so we have to be really soft. So yeah, I mean, the truth is, if
Yeah.
we invested a bit more time with our kids, we would know how best to go and address this specific misbehavior they're going through.
Yeah, and remember we had a conversation about this, about punishing and praising kids, right? So I think what you say is very, very true. I'm of the opinion that there are times when you need to punish kids,
Absolutely.
corporal punishment. But also of the opinion that that should be the last resort, right? When
Mm.
all else fails, right? It should not be the first resort where it's a reaction where I'm so angry now, I need to get rid of this feeling of anger by whacking you, right? So and I think what you say about presence is true, because if the child knows that you are doing this um not out of rage, right, but out of a proper intention, I think they might not have the words to articulate, but they actually know, they can sense it,
Yep.
right? Would you agree?
Absolutely. I totally
Yeah,
agree. Especially if you're coming from a place which is meant to serve them or to go and help them, they know, right?
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
you can explain properly why are you being punished, how will it help you, they don't begrudge you for it. Now,
Mm.
if you're coming from a place of anger or resentment or tiredness, or I had a bad day in the office, or my mother-in-law was scolding me, and now I'm taking it out on you because I need to punish you at the same time, right? Then that's where a lot of resentment gets transferred. A lot of the negative energy does get transferred down, and they learn their problem-solving skills from us. Yeah, yeah. So you're
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely right. Mm. For
yeah.
me,
I,
I'm
I
not a big
mean,
fan of corporate. Yep.
yeah. No, I
I'm
mean, I
not a big
mean, I
fan of
mean,
corporate.
this is from my experience in in my teaching experience as well. Some of you might not know, but I've been a teacher for over 20 years as well. And the program that I'm in is a private program. We have to actually understand and observe the child in order to draw out the best from the child, right? It's a lot of close observation, and our thinking is always the mindset comes before the skill set, right? You must develop the mindset in the child, then the skill set will come. And so when and to tell the truth, some of you look at me and say, "Hey, Chee-Seng is very nice." Actually, I have a temper.
Hey, we all have tempers, you know. It's just a matter of how long do we stay in the temper. But anyway, go ahead. Your narrative is very interesting.
So I do have a temper in I used to have a much worse temper. I'm more mellow now. So in my younger days as a teacher, I wouldn't fly off the handle, but I would get very frustrated and start yelling at the kids. Right. But I realized that, hey, if I'm yelling at the kids, do they understand why I'm yelling or not? Right. So I don't, going back to the philosophy, the mindset comes before the skill set, right? I don't want to be yelling at them and then they are developing a negative mindset, right? Oh shit, I'm sitting here I'm sitting here in the classroom getting yelled at. Oh, okay, I'm not motivated to do anything at all. Right? That's counterproductive. That's going against everything that we stand for. So when I realized this, I started to change how I yell. So I yell at them, but I make sure I tell them exactly why I'm yelling at them. Right? This is not the way to do it, because if you do it, it only reflects that you are having this kind of attitude, this kind of mindset, which is not going to help you to do this work. Not going to help you become an excellent person. Right? But of course, I say much louder, right? I'm frustrated. And the funny thing is, I have a lot of these kids who are the worst kids ever, my worst students ever. A lot of them come back and visit me later, after they've left.
Because they know that the energy is coming from a good place, Chee-Seng.
Yeah.
Hey, but anyway, just now you said something really, really important. You gotta edit this and you gotta go send to all our corporate clients, man. Okay, even for branding, right? Let's start from a mindset rather than a skill set, right? Yeah, for branding, very important.
Yeah. Hey, wait. I saw AJ said something. Parents emphasize on skills rather than mindset. Oh man. Okay, AJ is around my age lah. So I guess the boomer generation. Okay, Kian, over to you. What do you think of this?
My parents emphasize on skills rather than mindset. Well, I will say to go and to our good friend AJ over here that nothing is lost. Either way, you would have gained, So what if your parents emphasize on skills? You will be thankful for those skills today. All right. It's just that maybe things could have been a bit more efficient, or things would have been a bit more easy if you knew why you were doing those things. All right. But at the end of the day, when you invest in yourself, whether it is in skills or whether it is in mindset, it is going to serve you really, really well in your professional and personal life in the future. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. But I guess also it's the culture of those days lah. In the boomer generation, they grew up in poverty. So skill set was how you got out of poverty.
Absolutely.
Right? Right. So but now we are in the world that is very different. So we want to emphasize mindset. Agility is the key now, right? It's not just skill set. Everybody has a degree in the street now. So
totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Here's a great way to illustrate it. Here's a great way to illustrate it. The other day I was having a conversation with a very close friend, and she asked me, do you think that hard work is key to success? And I told her this, right? I said that no, a lot of people who are hardworking do not make it big. In fact, the majority of people who are hardworking do not make it big. But I do not know a single rich person who isn't hardworking. So now, hardworking, the skills is your prerequisite. You need it, right? You need that foundation. But to bring yourself to the next level of happiness and to achieve your goals, yes, then you need that shift in mindset. You need a very, very resilient, very positive mindset. and you need to know where you're headed to. And that's just my take on it anyway.
Yeah. So
Hey,
let's
hey,
just say hi
Jacqueline.
to a few more people. Jacqueline,
Yep.
thanks
Irvan.
AJ for your comment. It's really enlightening. It started a whole new conversation thread. I think we can do another show on this as well.
Yep.
Ewan,
Muihan.
Wuhan, Jonah.
Jonah.
Thank you, Alicia, for your comment. Yes, being present is really important, and not just parenting. I think everything in life. Honestly, I learned this the hard way as well, but that's a story for another day.
Especially a workplace leader, be present for your team members.
Hmm.
Or
Wen
over here,
Jay,
Wen Jay.
so many fear that they don't understand. Too many fear what they don't understand. But the thing is, most parents think that what most parents are doing to the kids are very effective without understanding the root causes of behavior. Judgment is ascribed to the kids without giving them the chance to explain themselves. That's what I think about parents from older times till now. Yeah, I would think this is probably true. Right now, my generation, my parents were like, children should be seen and not heard. Right, you just do what I say and don't ask too many questions. That was my parents' style, lah. Right. So, but what do you say, Ken?
Okay, so now Wen Jay over here, I'm going to agree with him 80%. However, there's
Mm,
going to be a 20%, right? Where
mm,
your main role as a parent is to go and take care of the security and the safety of children. In
mm.
those situations, right, we don't always have the luxury to go and, hey, please step away from the kettle. Okay,
Yeah.
or please, hey, can you explain to me why are you holding that scissors? No, you don't have the time to go and understand and wait for them to explain. Okay, now very important now, okay, guys, if your kid is bullying another kid, you don't have the time to go and say, hey, can you go and tell me why you're beating up that kid on the floor? Okay, no, okay, you got to stop it, all right? You got to go and punish your kid to go and stop the misbehavior on the spot. So yeah, I'm going to agree with Wenjay 80% here, all right? And this is
Mm,
where a lot of parents or educators who are not very experienced, especially, they'll come and go and say, right, I never yell at my kids, or um, or I never go and give them harsh punishment. And I say, okay, that's fine as well. But you have to understand, to serve people, whether it is your
mm,
children or the people you're leading in the workplace or your customers, you need to know all of the tools in your toolbox.
mm.
Because if you're purposely shutting off part of your toolbox just because of your principles, you're not serving the people correctly. So
And
yeah,
pain is actually one of the tools, lah, right? The
it,
painful consequences.
if people are in danger, then yes, pain may be warranted. But
Yeah.
let's talk about this a bit, yeah. Okay, Chee-Seng. And over here, I think that we might disagree a bit, but that's fine. We can have a nice discussion about this. Now, I can't remember whether it was UN or UNICEF. They came up with a
Mm.
very, very interesting report, guys. Wow, this one is damn. Sorry, whoa, this one is really mind blowing. Okay, all right. Now, in that report, it was reported that Malaysia was in the top five fiercest countries. The parents in Malaysia were
Oh.
the top five fiercest parents in the world. Now, guess what? Malaysia is number one for children who know how to play hide and seek.
Mm.
This means that our children do not actually adjust their behaviors too much after they're beaten.
Mm.
We cane our children, we beat our children, but their behaviors do not really adjust that much. What happens instead is that they learn to hide stuff from us really well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That is so
so
true.
yeah, they learn to hide stuff from us really, really well. And I think it is like Chee-Seng says, yeah, if you do want to go and beat your children, you have to go and beat your children from a place of understanding and serenity. Be calm
Mm.
when you're beating your children. Right?
Mm.
If you're beating your children out of vengeful and anger, it's not. They're just going to hide everything from you in the future. Right?
I
Personally,
have a
I think.
story about
Yeah.
that, but my daughter is around. I don't know whether I can tell or not.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's
So because
true because I mean, I'm not perfect, lah, right? I have caned my daughter when out of anger before, but I realized that and I tried to control it. But there was one time when she was young, I think like 4 or 5, and she was misbehaving outside. We were outside, and she was like all kinds of stuff. We said, oh, no, don't do this. I said, okay, if you're going to continue, go home. I'm going to cane you 2 times, 2 strokes. Okay, blah 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 blah. Blah, blah. The behavior continued. Okay, we carry on the day, whatever, everything happened because we were with people. So we went home. All right, did you remember what I said just now? And then she had to carry the cane over, and I gave her two strokes. Right, it wasn't vicious lah, right? It was just painful enough to remind her what I said.
All right.
Right, so I think that is important. That is one example where I can remember where I did it calmly, right? I didn't like carry the rage home and then, oh, now you're gonna die, you know, now you have offended me so much. But it was just very calm about it, and after that, you know, it was very clear lah. You know, I said it just now, and you didn't change your behavior. Now this is going to be carried out lah. And you know, and I don't think I've ever caned my daughter in her entire life more than 10 or 15 times. Right? Not necessary, you know, my daughter is so sweet. My daughter is so sweet.
I personally do not beat my children. I rarely raise my voices at my children, but I understand some parents who do, and my advice would be to, you know, make sure that you're coming from a place of serenity. Otherwise, it never turns out well, right? It never turns out well.
Yeah.
The lesson is lost.
I don't know about you, but people in my generation, we are used to like flying slippers and coat hangers, the most convenient weapon around.
My goodness, flying slippers, right? Wow, my mother used to wallop me with slippers.
The most convenient weapon lah. If it's a newspaper, it's a newspaper. If it's a belt, it's a belt. Coat hanger. Don't have worst come to worst. Slipper don't have hand lah. You know? That was my generation, my childhood lah.
Not something I advocate today lah. You know, children are changing. We have to change
cannot.
As well.
Today cannot, because the culture is so different, right?
Culture is different.
People are so aware of like children's rights. You know what parents' roles should be. Even kids. Right, but those days, oh gosh. Okay, let's go to the next question, and I think this will give us more focus. What are some of the most important issues? I know we covered a lot just now, but some of the most important issues that you feel that need to be addressed, you know, in terms of leadership, leading as a parent.
Okay, now, whether it is in the workplace or whether it is at home, we have to look ahead of what we want. Right now, leaders and parents really need to know what they want. You can't tell your kid something very vague like, I'm very disappointed in you, or why can't you be like your cousin, or why are you so clumsy? Okay, so now when our children do something to upset us or disappoint us, we always say, why can't you be like your cousin? Now, what do we want the kid to do with that information? It's the same in the workplace, yeah, okay?
Yeah, correct.
We'd like to go and tell our team members who failed to go and achieve that task, we would like to go and say, why are you so sloppy? Or why can't you follow simple instructions? Or do I have to go and do everything myself?
Yeah.
Now, these are what we call passive instructions. Because you are not actually communicating what you want to the people you are leading. And I think that this is something we really need to address. So this is why, any good leadership model, right? There are many different leadership models, and Chee-Seng is the best person to talk about leadership models. But good leadership models always come from foundational leadership. Knowing yourself, knowing what values you represent, and what is the best way to go and achieve a common objective. Now, when we tell our children, hey, why can't you be like your cousin? Actually, what do we want? We haven't thought about it. We are just repeating what our own parents have said to us.
Correct. And also throwing out some frustration, like, wow, why can't you be like that? No?
Correct. But actually, it will be much better for everyone just to go and say, go and wash your dishes. After that, 5 minutes off your video game because you forgot to wash your dishes. Much better than, why can't you remember? I told you a million times.
Yeah. Specific instructions, right?
Specific instructions, extremely important. The problem is many of us are not capable of giving specific instructions because we have not spent enough time with ourselves. We do not know what we want. We're just, like you say very correctly, we are throwing our frustrations onto them and hoping that maybe they have the solution. Correct, right? In the workplace, yeah, it's like, hey, I'm going to scold this guy. Maybe he knows what to do. But okay, guys, there's a reason
But
why.
you brought up you brought up something really interesting. It all starts from ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So it starts from self leadership, lah. We ourselves must be able to lead ourselves, lead our behavior, right? If we can't lead ourselves, we can't model the values and behavior we want to see in the how are we going to expect other people to follow us? What are they following? In fact, right?
Absolutely. You see, here's the thing, okay? Let's go back to the scenario. Let's say our kid, has forgotten to wash the dishes. Right? So instead of saying, why don't you be like your cousin, or why can't you remember I told you 4 million times? All right. Now, let's think of a way. Actually, what is the underlying reason we want them to wash the dishes? Now, when we were kids, we were also made to wash dishes. Was it a good decision on our parents or not to make us wash dishes?
I would say yes, lah. It's a life skill, man.
Correct. Okay, what else did they teach you?
I need to wash my dishes.
Why? Why?
Take care of the house, let it be neat.
How does it help you?
Don't let mess accumulate, because then it becomes really a terrible place to live in.
Right? Okay, but how does it help you as a person, Chee-Seng? When
I don't
we
know.
wash
I'm
dishes,
the rebel kid in my house. I don't do anything.
you see, okay, here's the thing, right? We ask our children to wash the dishes or to do chores in the house, right? You see, we are beating around the bush because we do not know why we ask them to do it. But if we go and have a deeper thought about it, you realize that we want our kids to go and wash the dishes. Number one, yes, to go and keep the house clean and a good, conducive place to live. Number two, we are developing a lot of skills. We are learning how to take care of ourselves. We are learning how to go and zap sao mei. In Cantonese, this is the best way to describe it. Zap sao mei. Take cleaning up after your own messes. Being responsible for yourself. So these are all the things we are trying to teach them. But because our own self-leadership is so weak, we don't even know why we're asking them to do it.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, why do you forget? I told you 1,000,000 times. Just go and tell them, look, you need to go and wash dishes because you learn to be a more responsible and happier person when things are in order. Right? So go and ask them to go and do it like that. Give them the reason behind it, the underlying interest, the underlying needs. Yeah.
Okay, just let me quickly address when Jay's question, or rather comment. Do parents really cane their daughters? Yeah, I cane my daughter. I'm not proud of it sometimes, honestly. I have to admit to you, a few times I really regretted, because I think it was unfair to her. But there were also some times when I think I did it right, lah. Yeah. So Matthew, parents asking us to wash dishes. If I recall what my parents said to me before, responsibility in cleaning up after making a mess. Yeah, that's a great life skill to learn.
Absolutely. But just to go and add on to what Matthew has said over here, yeah, okay? And let me go and draw you guys a beautiful analogy on this, yeah, okay, if you don't mind Chee-Seng. Now, nowadays, okay, if you told a child, especially a young child, we're talking about maybe between 5 to 12, right? If you go and told them, please go and share your toys with your cousin. The thing which they would definitely say is, why? Now, how do we respond to a kid who says, why should I share my toys with my cousin?
What do you mean, why? Go and share lah. What kind of person are you?
Correct. Then they don't want to share because you see, okay, the way they receive information is very different from the way we receive information back when we were kids. They are going to say, I don't care about they're not being cruel. They'll just say, I don't want to. So now some parents will go and say, we have to take turns. Then the kid will go and ask, why do we have to take turns? And then the parents will be like, so that your cousin can be happy too. And many children will say, I don't care if my cousin is happy.
Yes, very true.
They will
it's
say
not
that.
relevant to me. Yeah.
It's not relevant to me. And this is really, really good for leadership in the workplace as well. When people ask you for the whys, you have to be able to go and tie it back to them, how it will benefit them.
This is good. And here comes our third question, which you already started on. Okay, let me just put it up.
Yep.
So,
So
okay,
now,
continue your leadership in the workplace and how coming to parenting as well. Continue your point. Sorry.
yep. So on based on what Matthew was saying, responsibility in cleaning up after making a mess, right? We can go one step further to explain how building that responsibility is going to empower them in the future.
Mm,
For example, you will go and say, hey, you need to go and wash your dishes because learning responsibility is going to help you. When you are responsible, people will give you a lot of jobs in the future, or
mm,
people will lend you comic books in the future because they
mm.
know that you are a man of your word, or a boy of your word, or a girl of your word. You need to
Yeah,
be able to tie it back to them.
and that actually really comes back to my work as a content writer and creator as well, because every time we put out content, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, right? So I tell everyone who asks, or in my training, the first question that you need to answer in any piece of content that you write is, why should I care? Why should
Is
your
why should
audience
I
care?
care? Yep.
Yeah, right. Because your audience has no obligation to look at you and agree with what you say, or even accept, or even read it. Right. So that's the number one point that people have to answer. And I agree with you, Ken. I think now it's more apparent a bit than before. Before, I think in our generation, the older generations, respect is pretty automatic, right? Because the hierarchy is very strong. But I think today the hierarchy is not so strong anymore, right? The family hierarchy is not so strong anymore. And as you mentioned just now, a lot of parenting has been outsourced to teachers, to Google, to gadgets and devices, and a lot of parents are not fully present. So that thinking of, why should I care, that becomes really strong in children as well.
Absolutely. And over here, I think when Jay has said parents should educate their children for intrinsic values, not for extrinsic values and rewarding factors. All right,
Mm,
now over here, adjust for age. Younger children, they are not going to really understand what are intrinsic values. It's not going to be very convincing to them. All right, for
mm,
younger children, they still need to be able to go and see those material rewards sometimes. Right, this is why very important. Right, children, teachers for younger children like to give stars, like to go and give stamps. Yeah,
mm,
these are rewards. Yeah. Okay. This is applied behavioral analysis conditioning. Right. This is called positive reinforcement.
mm,
But yes, I do agree with Wenjay. As kids grow older, especially when they are reaching their 14 and above. Yeah. Okay. So we have 0 to 7, 7 to 14, and 14 and above. 14 and above, we definitely need to go and spend a lot more time talking about values already, and how those
mm,
values will make them happier, more cheerful people, more helpful people. Yep.
mm.
Totally agree.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think this is really part of leadership as well. We can see in the incentive schemes, right, in
Uh,
companies,
yep.
right? So you incentivize the behavior that you want, right, with positive reinforcement, and then you disincentivize behavior that you don't want with negative reinforcement, negative
Yep.
consequences, right?
Absolutely correct.
And hopefully along the way, people will understand that it's not just about the pain and the pleasure, but they will absorb the values behind the what you call it, the rewards and punishments are.
Mm.
So I think that works. And I really agree with you, Ken, that works at age appropriately, lah, right? So as you grow older, we still need the incentives and disincentives, but at a very young age, where children are very sensorial, right, and they're very simple, I think it's difficult to
Mm. Are we having a little? Yep.
use yeah, what we can do is use stimulations to let them know, okay, these are the boundaries, then we can talk to them later.
Yep.
Okay, AJ, I named the K Mr. Brown. Emily, what are you things?
Yeah. Don't take Mr. Brown out, lah, guys.
Oh yes, 14 and 17, definitely parenting style exchange. Yep, definitely. uh this one, yeah, age appropriate parenting and communication, I think it's really important. Communication, right?
Yep.
So can
Now
you
more
say
than
something
ever,
more about communicating with kids?
communication with kids. Okay, all right. Another
Yeah.
thing which we should probably focus a lot on is focus on fixing the mistake instead of going on a witch hunt.
Mm,
So yeah, it's true. Yeah, okay. A lot of the time when our kids do something undesirable or unhelpful, we really like to go and ask them, "Why do you do this? You know, what have you learned from this? And what uh can you promise me you'll never do it again?" But during all this time, the problem is still unfixed. And over here, I want to go and tell a bit of a story. Yeah, and this is from my law days. This is from when I was a practicing lawyer. I was in charge of a few clerks. I was in the intellectual property department, I remember. And I was in charge of 5 clerks. And one day, my boss found an error in one of the files. And so she go and put all 6 of us, me plus my 5 clerks, in front of her in her office. And she yelled at us and said that, "Who did this mistake?" And
mm,
unfortunately, the clerk which did that mistake happened to be new in the company.
mm,
And so
mm,
she was so scared she didn't dare to say anything. Now, I knew which clerk it was, but obviously I'm not going to say anything, right? I'm going to give her a
mm.
chance to go and own up, right? But she didn't. And my boss got so angry and she said, "Okay, you guys are standing here until someone admits to it." And so 1 hour passed, and my boss was getting really angry and angrier by the minute, right? Okay. And she got so angry that she just ordered lunch and ate in front of us. Now, at this point, I had enough already. I said, "Sorry,
Mm,
boss, it was me who did it." Now, my boss knows that it can't be a lawyer. It must be a
mm,
clerk because it was a typo error. It wasn't a legal error.
mm,
But she was so fed up already. She said, "Okay, kid, Ken, don't ever go and let me catch you doing it again. All of you get out from my office."
mm,
So now we spent so much time, nearly 2 hours in that room. My boss's hourly cost, my hourly cost, and the 5 clerks' hourly cost, and nothing was achieved. At the end of the day, that mistake wasn't even rectified. And we were just going on a witch hunt for the sake of going on a witch hunt, on a post-mortem. Now, Asians
mm.
have this obsession with post-mortems. We really love to find out what went wrong, you know. But during all this time, the problem is still not fixed.
Mm,
There's always a time for post-mortems. It is never when the problem is still unfixed.
mm,
Teach your kids how to go and admit their mistake. Teach your kids how to take charge, take accountability, and take responsibility for their mistakes. Fix it. Then most of the time you realize you don't even need to go and analyze with them what went wrong.
mm. Yeah, and I think that's really empowering, because if they instead of cowering and hiding away, it's empowering to come out and say, "I did it. I know how to fix it."
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
So yeah, the way we communicate to our kids is so really important. I think we have a lot more to say, but I need to go to the next question. So, how are you striving to make a difference, in this, based on your principles, your value, the wisdom and the knowledge that you've gained? What are you doing now?
Okay, all right. So now one thing which rarely parenting specialists train. Not that there are a lot of us, right? But when I look at the international market and when I look at other industries, right, the international industries, no one talks about parenting self-love. And
Mm,
I think that that is absolutely important. As leaders, as parents, we have to love ourselves very, very deeply. Otherwise, I can go and teach you the best language to use with your children. I can teach you the best
mm,
models, the best parenting models, the best leadership models. But it is no use if you turn around and you're miserable in front of your children. If you're
mm,
blaming your husband for everything, if you're blaming your mother in law for everything, or if you're blaming God for everything, why can't I just have a good day? Guess what your children are going to learn? They're not going to learn your leadership models. They're not going to learn your critical thinking models, right? They're going to learn how you solve problems based on, like you say it properly, right? We are our children's role models, especially when it comes to problem solving.
yeah, yeah. And I think in a slightly different perspective about self-love, and I think that's why this is very important to maintain the strength of the marriage, right? I mean, self-love, I think it's difficult because if you're already broken, it's difficult to love yourself. But if you have a partner who's committed to you, right, then you can actually have a chance to experience that love. So and if both partners are united and committed to each other, and really can be united not just in love, but in their values, in how they see raising their kids, uh, which I think this is one of the big issues in families today, right? Mother and father can't see eye to eye how to treat their children, right? But I think that a strong marriage will really go a long way towards leading our kids, right? Based on self-love. Like I totally agree with you about self-love, right? You cannot give what you don't have.
You can't give what you don't have, man. Yep. Whether it's in the workplace or whether it's at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. If we are always carrying
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
an attitude of resentment or an attitude of frustration or attitude of anger, that would definitely spill into our mindset and our language with the people we lead. But if we're always coming from a
Mm.
place of love and contentment and assurance, all right, then our kids will also learn to be very calm, very relaxed, fix mistakes, not
Yeah.
naughty. Yeah, it's like that. All right. We
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
oh my
It's
goodness,
always about
recently I read this.
modeling, lah, right?
It's always about modeling. Yeah, correct. And recently I read this research which was so mind blowing, right? We actually have magnetic fields. I read this research from a neuroscientist on parenting. And he says that people have magnetic fields. And it depends on what type of magnetic field you are portraying, right? If your source of energy is frustration, resentment, then your children will pick up on your magnetic field, and that's how they will go and deal with their problems as well. And I was so
Mm.
mind blown by this. I was like, wow, are you saying that the law of attraction is real? And apparently, there is some truth to it, And yeah, that to me that was pretty eye opening.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advocate law of attraction in
Right.
parenting. I don't know. This is not research, but neuroscience shows that we have magnetic fields. Do keep your emotions. Do take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really believe in the law of attraction, the like really metaphysical spiritual sense, but I do believe people can sense the energy where we're coming from, right? Like some people, you just
That.
walk when they just walk into the room, oh, what kind of person this person is already. We do sense it. We do have sense the energy of a person, right? So we are, oh gosh, we're almost to the end of the time. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, drop it into the comment box. We've had some great discussion in the comment section. Really appreciate it. Right, Ken, maybe one more point before we wrap up. How are you making a difference? In terms of helping parents lead in the family.
Well, I help them. Well, what you say is very, very true. First of all, I give them the mindset. I help them understand where their children are coming from. This is where when Jay says some. This is where when Jay's words really, really ring true. We have to be a
Mm,
bit more compassionate with our children. We have to go and
mm,
understand, that children are really undergoing a lot of stress and anxiety nowadays because of apps, because of social media,
yeah,
because of peer pressure compared to us.
yeah,
Right? Back then we were very much relaxed, right? So children
yeah,
nowadays there's always an underlying current of stress and anxiety. First things first, be compassionate to that. Understand that. Okay? And understand what they need at the different ages.
mm,
So now, all right, from 0 to 7, they probably need you to go and serve them a bit more. From 7 to 12, they can take on a bit more responsibility. And from 14 onwards, they probably need a really close friend. And so,
mm,
right, do understand that they are going through a tough time because of the pandemic, because of peer pressure and you know addiction. A lot of things are going
mm.
on. Be a bit more compassionate. Try to understand what you yourself want as a parent. Otherwise, it is not possible to go and lead others. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, and I think compassionate is the key. Like you really hit it because I also mentioned this once in another conversation. We always look at kids and say they're like this, they're like that, but we fail to to realize the world, how different the world is, compared to our childhood. My childhood was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, we had one phone in the house, in the whole house, right? We had one TV set in the whole house. We had zero computers, right? Our fun was either you read books or you go find some friends, right? The world is so complicated today, right? And the stress of complication, sometimes we don't realize lah. We had time to grow into these complications over 30 years, right? Our kids are born into it, right? Suddenly they're thrown into the deep end. Yep.
Yep.
So when peer pressure is worsened by the FOMO effect of what people are experiencing, and if you don't, then you're considered redundant and far behind. Yeah, I mean, this is from social media in your apps and everything, right? I remember my daughter. Oh gosh, this is a story, man. I remember my daughter coming back from school. Her friend, she was primary school. I think she was 8 or 9. Her friend had told her, "Hey, how come your father is driving such an old car? Go and buy lah, Porsche. Few hundred thousand only, ma."
Wow, 300,000 only, man. Don't worry about it. Can lah, Chee-Seng, no problem. No problem for Chee-Seng over here.
No,
Yeah,
but if
Chee-Seng,
you're
what
a
did you go buy?
9-year-old or a 10-year-old and your kids are telling you, and your friends are telling you stuff like this,
Mm.
and and they're judging your value based on stuff like this, whether you have a Smiggles pencil box, we didn't have so many things to compare last time, right? We wear a simple watch. Nobody wears like what kind of watches to school. In my days, we don't have that kind of branded stationaries to show off in school, right? But they do now, and I remember my daughter say, "Hey, because she likes reading more than watching TV." So when the friends go to school, and when she was young, and they're talking about this cartoon, that TV show, it's like, "Oh, what are you guys talking about?" And she feels like I'm such a nerd here. I don't belong. So I think as channels increase, there are more sources of comparison. Right? So that is you're right, lah, Wenjin. The stress of the FOMO effect is very real. So have some compassionate on our kids, lah.
Yep. Hey, I want to go and talk science here, guys. I want to go and talk science here, right? Now,
Yeah.
for us, right, for our generation, why do we study hard or why do we work hard? It is because there was the concept of delayed gratification. We knew that we had to sacrifice something today, and there was a payoff at the end of the month in terms of a pay slip, or we go to the gym. Why do we work so hard at the gym? Because we want that rush of hormones and chemicals, serotonin, endorphins, right? Oxytocins, right? Now, nowadays, okay, if you go and ask your children, please go and study, they will ask you, why should I study? And then you try lah, you go down the rabbit hole, you go and tell them, oh, because you need a good job. They will ask you, why do I need a good job? All right? And you will go and tell them, oh, so that you have choices, so that you can be happy when you're an adult. And they will go and tell you this. They will always tell you this, guys, okay? All of you listen very closely. They will always tell you this. I know how to be happy. I just need to go and play my video game. Why should I work so hard? So now, one of the roles of parenting, which did not exist 5 to 6 years ago, is now we have to explain to our children that there are more than one way, there is more than one way to get your rush of chemicals. I understand
Yeah.
that you are stressed. I understand that you are anxious, and I understand that you have this anxiety which you feel can only be solved by getting on that video game. But no, there are many, many, many other types of activities to go and help you feel better as well. Reading,
Yeah.
imagination, playing with your friends, working hard, achieving your
Yeah.
goals. Mm. Hey,
Yeah.
James,
So
Captain.
yeah. Yeah. Hi, James. You're in time to catch the last 5 minutes. But I think it's very true. You really said something that yeah, it's really true. The and I've mentioned this. We spoke about this in some of the other dojo shows. In times of crisis is where leadership really rises, right? We need the strong leadership to lead people out of crisis. But we don't have major crisis now. I mean, besides the pandemic that we're going through now. But besides the pandemic, we don't have major crisis, but we have a lot of small crises. We have crises crisis of unhappiness, we have crisis of distractions, we have crisis of peer pressure, and these crises are so fragmented, right? Peer pressure from whatever social media you're on, right, and whatever channels you're looking at. There's so fragmented, tiny little bits of distractions and crisis levels that's causing stress in our kids. Uh, and that's where we, just like any other crisis where we need strong leadership, right? We don't have huge crises. We have all multitudes of mini crises every day, right? That's where I think as parents, as teachers, we need to really come up as leaders, step forward as leaders. And I think you said it very well. It starts with us, right? It always starts with us. Lead ourselves, love ourselves, then we can do better for our kids, right? Lead our kids towards in a better way. All right.
Absolutely.
Your final key takeaways for tonight. Your 3 key takeaways for tonight. Okay,
Oh, okay,
how
all
would you
right.
sum it up?
All right, okay. Three key takeaways are okay. Number one,
Yeah.
all right. Okay, be a bit more compassionate towards yourself and your kids. Everyone is going through a tough time, right? Let's fix the problems instead of going on a witch hunt. And okay, yep. Number two, all right. Hey guys, really learn to go and love yourself. All right. As parents, we have many roles. Yes, I agree, and it can be very overwhelming every day. I agree. I'm a single dad. But there's only one priority every day, and that is to go and please take good care of how you feel. Right? Don't suppress your feelings. All right. Understand that your feelings are here to help you. When you feel bad, it means that you're probably thinking of something bad. And when you feel bad, you're probably going to exhibit bad behaviors also. So please take care of how you feel as a parent. Right. Number three, I guess, be more affirmative in what you want your children to do instead of going on blaming or witch hunt or screaming at things which they do not know how to solve. All right. Yep. So
Yeah.
three takeaways from me tonight.
All right. So Alicia, bye, Cikgu. Good student here.
Thank you, Alicia. You have been an excellent participant tonight.
Yeah. So we are almost at the end. Do you have any final words of wisdom for us before we end?
Um. Okay. All right. So now people really misunderstand emotions. People really misunderstand emotions. We think that there are good emotions and bad emotions. Well, emotions are not good or bad. They're just like a GPS system. We can't say this GPS system is good or bad. Yeah. Basically, when our children are having a bad time, all right, they are undergoing a journey. They are learning what they don't like and what they like. We have to understand that. Telling our children things like, "Hey, you shouldn't be sad over such a small matter," or "Don't cry lah, this is a small matter only," is really okay depriving them of that lesson, and it will come back worse next time.
Yeah.
Same for us, okay? If
Yeah.
we are angry, don't hate that emotion. Just think back. What triggered this anger? What thoughts did I have to go and bring about this emotion? And work
Yeah.
backwards from there. Yeah, so that's just a little bit extra, which is something another 1 hour talk, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, indeed. We were talking just now. We have to come back for like part 2, part 3, part 4 with Teacher Kian. If you agree, put it into the comments there. We have lots more to explore. I mean, today was just like very surface across the board. Okay, put it in the comments. If we invite Teacher Ken back for part 2, part 3, part 4, what would be some of the topics that you want to cover? All right. So we are at the end of our show. If you look at the ticker at the bottom, I've actually started a Leaders Dojo LinkedIn group because I don't know why every time I post something about the Leaders Dojo, my post dies. I don't get more than 500 people views. So if you don't want to miss any Leaders Dojo, please do join the group. Just search on LinkedIn Leaders Dojo and join the group, or I will probably be sending you an invitation soon. Uh, that's where I will post updates on when the next show will be, who our guests are going to be. I promise I won't spam you. It's just to keep you updated of when the shows are going to come up so that you don't miss a show. All right. And with that, we are going to end the show. But before we go, I want to introduce you to our guest next week. Her name is Aisha Sujat, and this is someone that I really admire. She is an electoral management expert working to strengthen democratic processes and to enhance inclusion in developing democracies. She's actually worked for the UN before, and she's led missions for the UN, international NGOs, and also national institutions, including to manage post-conflict elections in Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, and others. And right now, she's back in the home country of Pakistan. Where she's passionate about empowering women and girls, and she heads Project Girls for Girls, which is focused on closing the gender leadership gap in Pakistan. So this is someone I met her during a training. Did my screen just turn black for some reason? Yeah, okay. So I met her during a training, during my NLP training, and she's quite a petite person, but in Malaysia we will call her Chili Padi lah. Right. So do not miss the next session, and I will see you at that time. Right. Until then, goodbye, everyone. Good night. Thank you, Teacher Ken, and thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.